I like to make these little spend the day with me, day in my lifestyle type videos to highlight certain things about sustainable living, to catch up with you. I like to do life updates, and in this one specifically, we're gonna do like a Q&A. I ask for questions on my community tab. If you're not subscribed with your notifications on, I think you should do that. Then you can get in on the next time we are answering questions like this, or at least me. Madison's here for now. She does have to return. One thing that has been on my mind for like months, many months since it happened is the question, because the photo I posted was of us, well, me, in the Netherlands when we were there, and we are obviously not there anymore. We're here, and we haven't been there since October. We never shared our trip to not only the Netherlands, we went to like, I think 6 countries, Scotland, Ireland, Denmark, Germany, Brussels, where else, babe? The Netherlands. But we never posted about it for a specific reason, and I think it's about time that I tell you why that is. We took this trip for our anniversary in October, but it was also attached to like a work project for me.
They did have any meals after all.
Oh, what does that mean?
That means we're cutting some of it up for tonight, I guess.
I was thinking about making a watermelon like syrup, like a concentrate, so that then we could combine it with like the true lime and like fizzy water. Ooh. And then it's like a watermelon lime mocktail.
That sounds delightful.
Yes.
You should get it on that.
Okay. Oh my god, you got so many. We're unpacking the Imperfect food box. The chickens get like 1/8 of these each every day in the summer because it really helps them replace electrolytes and just like water in general in their little bodies. Anyway, point is, back to my story about the Netherlands. We have never been to the continent of Europe before. We got an opportunity because I was working with this brand to go to this castle in Ireland. And I have to say that one of my priorities when choosing partners, sponsorships, things like that, is non-consumerism things. If I can talk about something that has nothing to do with you buying a thing and a thing being produced, that's generally the type of partnerships I like to take on. And so I'm not gonna name the name of what this brand was, but essentially we went there to film in October/September. It was the end of September, beginning of October, and they didn't approve my stuff. Like we went back and forth with trying to get the content out until January, and I think they wanted me to go like post it in February. So by the time February rolled around, I'm working on a million other things. I don't have time to go back and like put all the content together from when we were there.
Right.
All right, you're hanging out with me now, and we're gonna work on something that I've been putting off for months. I don't really know why, but that shelf behind me, I bought it for my birthday. It's a reclaimed wood shelf. It's actually really cool. If you can tell, it's floating. So styling it really just means putting things in a way that they look nicer. Opening that box, I got a really cute set of like cactus glasses at a yard sale. There have been so many houses for sale in my neighborhood. I was gonna say people dying in my neighborhood. Most of the houses in this neighborhood, the people who live in them are first-time homeowners. Like they've lived here since the homes were built, and they're just naturally reaching the age where they're no longer with us. And so people like me are able to move into the neighborhood, and we're just kind of, the neighborhood's just kind of going through that. So there's been a lot of estate sales, yard sales, and things like that lately. That's where I got that from. Yada yada. Anyway, not the point. Let's unbox that box that's up there, and then we'll be able to style it a little bit more. Okay, on that same note, I also just passed my 1 year with solar, and if you know me, you know I feel weird about talking about things before I'm actually not an expert, because like there are very few things I'm an expert in, but unless I have like significant experience in it, I really don't like to talk about things. But what I can say is what I have learned for having solar for a year, which is number one, that I'm really happy with the company that I went with, not only because of the warranty stuff, but also because I had to get a roof replacement. We've just been getting like really increased hailstorms in Austin. That's why we had to get the roof replacement. But luckily, because the solar panels are such good quality, we didn't have to replace the panels. So they just came out, removed them, they replaced the roof, they put the panels back on. It was a really seamless process, and I know that that question is something so many people ask when they're like thinking about solar panels, is like, what about hail, and what if I have to replace my roof? Well, I've already experienced both of those things within the first year, and I can tell you, at least the panels I went with, super easy to deal with that. Okay, these are the cups. They're so cute. Okay, they're stackable. They stack like this. And I don't know if these are vintage, but it seems like whoever had these never even used them. We can use them tonight for our little girls' night party. Oh wait, I think it has to go on the top. No, that's not right. We'll figure that out in a second. I can also speak to how much energy we've generated, which when I go into the app, the people who installed my solar panels, they have a whole app and I love that thing. I'm such a nerd for like data and stuff. So much fun for me, but I can go in and see from when I install them to when we had the roof replacement, and we have been able to generate 90% of our energy use. But I have to say, in this Texas heat with Texas electricity bills, that's a lot, and I'm really happy with that. It also, because of the issues with the Texas grid, if you haven't heard, sometimes it fails. Less energy we have to create from fossil fuels, then more likely the grid can sustain itself when we're producing our own energy. Generate clean energy, but also helping the grid, because like we don't want anybody to go without power when it's 100 degrees outside, right? Okay, I figured it out. Please clap. Beauty! Oh my God, wait, I love it! So simple, yet so freaking cute. Also, I will say with the solar, now that it's been a year that I have survived another tax year, that means I've now received all the benefits from getting solar, because I got an immediate $1,000 back from the people who installed it. They gave us a $1,000 credit. And then like, it was definitely within the first like month or two of having the panels installed, I got a $2,500 rebate from my city, my energy provider. And then I got another 30% tax credit on my taxes for last year. So when I paid my taxes, I have officially received all of the benefits from going solar. So after a full year, we also have that benefit going for us. So those are, I think, the most important updates after having solar for a year. And if you want to know the other questions, like what I thought about it in the beginning, the whole process, all that stuff, I have 2 full videos about it. So I'll link one here and I'll link both of them in the description. But if you are thinking about going solar yourself, I definitely recommend checking out Energy Sage if you're trying to figure out what installer or what provider to go with, because they're basically a tool to help you decide who to go with. They are the most trusted educational site or like marketplace for solar installers, and the website is completely free to use. And I think it's really helpful because you just sign up, like you make an account, and then within 24 to 48 hours you'll get competing quotes for offers for your house, which just makes it easier to kind of sift through different qualifications, what you want to go with, and also get the best deal. It's like when you're trying to book a flight or a hotel and you use Kayak or Expedia. Same situation. And people who use Energy Sage usually save around 20% on the cost of going solar. Plus you can get an energy advisor and they can speak to any questions that you have. It's just like someone to help guide you through the process. You know what I mean? So if you are in the market and thinking about going solar, you can join over 1 million people who have used Energy Sage to shop for solar panels, battery storage solutions, and more. So check it out and see how much you could save by going solar, and not only the planet, but dollar bills. Like I said, 90% of my energy costs covered by my panels. You can use Energy Sage to get free quotes and feel confident about making the switch. Okay, here are my vintage dishes that I'm so excited about. I thrifted all of these. This one has this cute little cover. This is fun to have for parties or to take places. It's wicker and it has a cover, and then when you open it, it has those compartments and it's glass. I freaking love this thing. It's ridiculous how excited I was when I found that at the thrift store. This one is only cool because it's glass. Most of these are plastic. I love the sound of that. And the reason I didn't want a plastic one is because I feel like they get scuffed up over time and they start to look ugly. And my goal with buying all of these is for this to be like my signature hosting ware. Like, do you remember when you were a kid and your parents had like certain dishes that they would use to serve dinner, or if you were having a party, they had certain things? I definitely remember that about my mom, but they were all plastic, and she still has some of them. She still has some of them and is using some of them, which is questionable because after they've been through that much wear and tear, microplastics. But my goal is to basically have that same feeling with these dishes 10, 20 years from now, that I can keep, and they will still be perfect quality then. Okay, this I also thrifted. It came like this, but it doesn't have to be put together, and I don't know if they were originally together or if someone just put them together at some point. But like, that's what I'm saying, you know, like, cause they sit flat and they can't really sit any other way. How can I style them up there? I literally have no idea. I do feel very happy that we got that cactus out, and I kind of want to put a plant up there and something else to style it. Wait, I have something cute in my garage. I thrifted the bottom 2, and then the top, well, I mean, technically they're all thrifted, but the top ones were from eBay and they're still in their little thing. But it's this butterfly Still has the Goodwill sticker on it. This butterfly, which could just sit up there. I feel like this can sit there. And then this one was so freaking cool. I don't know who, this seems like it was like custom handmade. Still has the Goodwill sticker on it too. But look at this one. Are you kidding me? But like, how does that look? This is not gonna be its final resting place, but like because people are coming over tonight, I'm like, let's style it and make it look cute. Eventually you see the mantle down there. I want that to all be like butterfly theme, but for tonight, that's cute, right? Did this not come out better than you were expecting? Like, I really, really like this a lot. Need to grab a cutting board. So my goal is to make a watermelon lime mocktail, because most of my friends are sober at this point in my life. And I'm gonna cut up this watermelon to do so. Almost died. I bought this watermelon when Madison told me that Imperfect Foods was sold out of the watermelons, and now we have this one, and now we just have way too many. So the goal is, yeah, use up the watermelon. Honestly, I feel like every time I try to do this, I fuck it up. My mom is so good at it, but like, I feel like getting the rind off of a watermelon is so hard. Okay, so because I'm talking about friends, community, woo, since that's what we're doing tonight, that's what we're prepping this for, I figure it's only appropriate to take this question, and like there were several others kind of asking about how to build community, like what are I have time constraints, how can I do it anyway, so on and so forth, things like that. And so this one specifically says, creating community as an introvert, do I have to? I think if you've ever watched me ever, you know I'm an introvert. But what I've discovered over the last like year to 2 years of trying to build community is that I'm not only an introvert and have social anxiety and like every form of anxiety, but I also have this weird, it's not weird, my therapist knows where it comes from, but like I have this thing in my head where I think nobody likes me. I think like no one wants anything to do with me. And so I've had to push through being an introvert, being anxious, being socially anxious, and also thinking everyone hates me. So I feel like if there's anything I've ever been qualified to speak on, it's this. I've been asked so much about how to deal with eco-anxiety, and I have to tell you that the only thing that has ever helped me is finding a community, because I feel like what I've been talking about, what so many people associate with sustainable living and being an environmentalist is very individualistic. It's very put all the pressure on yourself. But I think at the end of the day, actually, when you turn environmentalism into a community-driven thing where you find people who care, and even if not all your friends are like diehard environmentalists, because mine aren't, to be honest. One of my friends who's coming tonight, she could do some work, and we're working on it. But that's also kind of the point in community, because when you're connected with other people, they start to understand what's important to you. When you connect with people, people start to care about your struggles and your values and not just their own, and they're exposed to so much new stuff, new perspectives, that I feel like is the only way to actually change the world, specifically our culture. Because the thing I'm most passionate about in the environmental space is really like ending consumerism and the way that our economic model incentivizes it. And I feel that building community is the exact opposite of that, where we find hobbies that are not shopping and scrolling, and where we connect with people on things other than the products that we buy. So to answer your question, if you want to do your best and advocate for the rest, if it's important to you to change our culture around consumerism in order to do what's best for the planet and our mental health and our wallets and like literally everything, the answer is yes. You kind of have to do it, at least a little bit. I do think that you can be involved in community and you can do community work without it having to be your whole personality. And I think in that way, you can be a community member and not a community leader. I think there's a distinct difference there. And I think that like something that I have always felt called to is leadership. Like just since I was young, I don't really always think that I have the most valuable thing to say, but I've always felt like I can be a leader in things, and my personality is just to take things too far. That's how I ended up with the side hustle as my career, you know what I mean? For me, what being involved in community means is like, instead of going to the trendiest brunch spot on a Saturday morning, instead you're going to like plant trees or pick up trash or go to a community meeting about what's going on in your city, going to a workshop where they're teaching you about native plants or I don't know, there's several things going on, I guarantee you, wherever you are. That's what community can mean to you, and that's what it means to me. It's just to be involved in community and know what's happening where you live and making positive changes in those areas for the better. You know, long before I was a YouTuber, I was a YouTube watcher, and I still to this day watch plenty of people who make vlogs, and I do not understand how people know when they've said too much when they're filming in different clips. Like, most of my videos, if you watch this channel, are me sitting down with a bunch of information that I want to talk about, and then I talk about it. But when I film videos like this, I feel like I'm talking as much as I would talk if I was sitting down doing one take to the camera every time I move the camera. And I don't know how the girlies who vlog know when they've talked too much, because I always talk too much. No, baby. If you happen to know anything that you can do with watermelon pulp, let a girl know, because watermelon flavored things, I feel like I make a lot of mocktails, popsicles, things like that in the summer, so would love a recipe. Also, I think you can make fruit leather. I think Catherine has a recipe about that, but if you have any other ones, let a girl know. This is what we got out of that. The recipe I use is like 1:1 sugar to juice. It's hot, by the way. I just went outside to film a TikTok for like all of maybe 2 minutes, and I'm like sticky, sweaty, wet. My hair had to go up. So I'm working this summer on making my summer bucket list, my entire personality, essentially, because last year it really made a difference for me. And someone asked what's on my summer bucket list, so I thought I would tell you. First is try tanghula. I don't know how to pronounce that, but basically, if you are on TikTok, that's the fruit that gets dipped in sugar. And then they harden it, and it just looks incredible. Learn to identify new bird songs. I don't know, something about, I swear, when I hit my late 20s, early 30s, I felt like the birds started speaking to me, and I want to know what they're saying. Finish a crochet project. Do a full moon swim. Flower press. I wanted to do that. Dye something. I have a few things I want to dye, and that's an easy, pleasurable indoor activity. Rent a boat on Lake Travis with everybody. Donate to my seed library, because summer is like peak, things are growing in seeding time, and I can gather some of those and donate them to our seed library here in town. Make a flower crown. Create a new signature potluck dish. I feel like we make burgers every time we do any sort of entertaining, because it's easy, it's universal. Why do you look like that? I know, that's why it's on the bucket list, to learn new things. She just said, that's all I know how to make. Start a junk journal. This is something I learned on TikTok, where you just like collect stuff from your day, and you basically, it's scrapbooking. It's scrapbooking, but I think because we are entering recession era, people are looking for things to do that are like fun and free. And this is just kind of like using stuff you already have to be creative. And I love that. So I want to start one this summer. Float the river, which we already have plans to do, and volunteer 25 hours, which I'm kind of required to do for my master naturalist anyway. So that's my summer bucket list. Hopefully that motivates you. It really has motivated me in life in general. I also got several questions, and like these are some of the most liked questions about careers in sustainability. I really want to recommend that you follow Brown Girl Green, Christy. She has a website called the Green Jobs Board, where they post all jobs of all different skill levels on there. If you're starting out in your career, don't look at people who are already like 10 years in their career and be like envious of where they're at. You just have to start where you are and kind of work your way up. Oh no!
Not the onions, not the onions.
Juliet's officially our early friend now. Wow. I feel like I look a little bit witchy with the way my hair looks right now, but it's fine. We're gonna go outside. I wanted to show you these. I finally got this and this one. So if you do a wildlife habitat transformation on your yard, you can go online and fill out that you've met all the requirements, and you get this little certification plaque. And then this one is specifically a project that's happening here in Austin. I don't know if it's Texas-wide, but it's to plant milkweeds for the monarch migration. So I'm gonna do these 2 signs in my yard. And one of the questions I got was like the pushback from some of my neighbors. I call some of my neighbors NIMBYs, which means not in my backyard. You can look up what that means. But essentially, I definitely have gotten pushback from my neighbors about my yard. Usually like in a very backhanded way, not in a very confrontational, in my face kind of way. Mainly from people who are older. A lot of the younger people, we went to actually a barbecue with a lot of our neighbors the other day, and there was a very clear divide between the age groups, who was like pro replacing their lawn and who was anti. Like so clear. Every millennial was like, yeah, I'm working on some form of turning my yard into a native space or planting wildflowers, etc. And then the other half that was like, if you want to know why grass lawns are so problematic in every way, shape, and form, I made a video about that recently. Yeah, I thought I would answer some of the questions related to the front yard and give a little update because I was talking on my Instagram stories about the yard, and I talked about how my cardinal nest didn't make it. I had 4 babies at some point, and something kept getting them in the night, which was really sad. And then I got really excited because I found another nest in my yard, which were mockingbirds, which is our state bird, and I was so excited. For better or for worse, those eggs that she laid never made it to being babies because something got them at night again. Nature is savage, but it's also beautiful to watch, so I'm trying to like, you know, just tell myself this is the way the ecosystem is meant to work. The same way that butterflies lay eggs and they hatch into caterpillars to feed birds, so do birds lay eggs to feed other animals. That's how the ecosystem works. It's just hard to watch. Okay. So we just got a really good rain the last couple days. A tropical storm came through, and so everything in the garden looks really nice, and I want to show you some of that. So this question is actually a 4-parter, but the first part of the question is about one of the things that I am most passionate and excited to talk about recently, and that is lawns and HOAs. I have always hated the idea of an HOA. I have always hated the idea of paying someone to tell you what to do with your property. I think that's so problematic for many reasons, as I talked about in my lawn video, and obviously in that video you'll also learn about why lawns are so problematic, so go check it out. But they're asking, what can you do if you do live in an HOA for your lawn? And the first thing I would do is say most yards, even if they are primarily lawns, have flower beds in HOAs, in my experience anyway. Those flower beds, you can take out anything that's in there that's not native and plant things that are native. One of the plants I'm always going to push is milkweed. Whatever milkweed is native to your area, you can plant those in those flower boxes. I think most HOAs are okay with that. And then I also think in addition to that, you could create more flower beds, whatever they're called, and plant more perennials and more flowers and more native plants in those. And at least in those areas, you'll be contributing, and hopefully you wouldn't get in trouble for that. But more than that, I think you should petition your HOA. I think you should join the board. I think you should change the rules. I think we should fight HOAs and try to take their power away at a city, state, and federal level. And Texas just had a win on that, which I talked about also in my lawn video. So check that out. Where I get my native seeds. So here in Texas, we have a company called Native American Seed Company, but my lawn is primarily filled with perennials, not reseeding wildflowers. And I did that for a few reasons. Number one, annual seeds, like if you seed things, they have to regrow every year and they have to pull new nutrients from the ground every year. They can also be harshly affected by the weather. So if we don't have enough rain one year, if we freeze or if it doesn't freeze, etc., it can really impact the way that wildflowers regrow. They also leave no nectar source in the fall for our pollinators because they just primarily grow in the spring and summer. So I chose perennials, mindfully choosing some that would still be flowering in the fall for that reason. And for those, I looked for mostly small sellers that sell these plants because some of them are really hard to find. And there is one nursery in my town that sells native plants. So that's where I've gotten most of mine from, but you'll have to research for your area. I hope these answered some fun questions for you today. I hope you also enjoyed getting to see a little bit of my yard. It's kind of hard to see big picture because the changes are actually kind of small. Like you plant a plant and it's 4 bugs and it's not really something you can get scathing, sweeping views of. But it's been a really fun time, and I hope you learned something in this video. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up. And remember, until next time, you cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that you can do. Bye, guys.